Hey, everybody. I just wanted to go over a little bit about what's in chapter 3. And so, um, you're in Stu Kent, you're given lecture slides. I'm using those, but I'm not using all of them. So I cut it down a little bit. But you have a copy of these in Stu Kent. I just got rid of some of them. You're welcome to follow along, take notes, um, whatever, however you need to do that. But I want to make sure that since we are not in class together, that you have some version of a short lecture from me. This shouldn't be too long. I'm not planning on, hour-long lecture videos or anything like that. You can pause it, come back when you have time, that kind of stuff. So whenever you're ready, sit down with your notes, or if you print the slides out or whatever, and follow along. So, let me share my screen. And I will, there we go. All right, chapter 3 is our first chapter on talking about branding. This won't be our only week talking about branding, though. Things take time. Rushing success denies opportunity for growth. All right, the basics: company statements, mission statement, vision statement, positioning statement. Lowe's mission statement is together we deliver the right home improvement products with the best service and value across every channel and community we serve. And their vision statement is we will provide customer valued solutions with the best prices, products, and services to make Lowe's the first choice for home improvement. The thing about a mission statement is it should answer three things: who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. A vision statement, although similar, also speaks to a almost futuristic in the we're going to be the best, we'll be the leading this or something like that. So you'll see on the vision statement here, we're going to make Lowe's the first choice for home improvement. So they're not exactly the same. Um, the mission is more of right now, and the vision is more in the future. But there's also some very much similarities of things in both. Coca-Cola, refresh the world, make a difference. And then vision, our vision is to craft the brands and choice of drinks that people love to refresh them in body and spirit. The thing about Coca-Cola's mission statement, and if I was in front of the CEO right now, I'd tell him this: that's not a mission statement. It's a tagline. It's not a mission statement. That's okay. You know what? Coca-Cola's not hurting, so that's okay. A mission statement has to give us a goal to empower us to do things now. And although refreshing the world sounds fantastic, that is not actually what that's telling us. The vision statement I actually really like, though. So just kind of keep that in mind. We don't want a tagline. We want a mission statement. Boy Scouts of America, which is actually a nonprofit. The mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout oath and law. And then the vision is the Boy Scouts of America will prepare every eligible youth in America to become a responsible, participating citizen and leader who is guided by the Scout oath and law. Both, I mean, they're fine, writing tips for these two things. And we will actually write a mission statement and a positioning statement, which we haven't covered yet. So the tips are here. There's purpose here. Be clear and articulate, and articulate the purpose of the brand, its target, and what it solves. Be brief. Your mission and vision statement should be succinct and to the point. Mission should only be one sentence, but your vision could be 2 or 3. Smaller is better. Also, we're not explaining and describing at length. We're making a very clear point. Be open. Use language broad enough to let us grow. Also, if your mission statement changes from this year to next year, that's okay. It needs to. Every so many years, you need to update it to make sure that your path is clear. A positioning statement is a formal document that communicates how your brand differentiates itself from the competition. It allows customers and competitors to draw associations and expectations regarding where it fits within the marketplace, and it should contain the following elements: who, what, and how. Your positioning statement should help your audience clearly recognize that the product or service you offer is for them. You should help your audience understand what business you can solve, what your business can solve, and help your audience understand areas of specialty that distinguishes your business from your competition. The thing about every business is we have to solve a problem for somebody. That problem may be a fire type problem, but we have to figure out how to solve a problem for everyone. Otherwise, we're not going to make it. And it's not as simple as we're fixing something, because sometimes we don't even know that it's a sticking point for people until we learn that it's a sticking point for people. So keep in mind, when we talk about problem solving, and you'll hear the terms problem statement, what is it about our business that is going to make other people want and need it? Keep that in mind as we go along. Why and where. Generate positive associations and humanize your brand by explaining why you're there. Communicate to your audience what specific geographic segment your company serves. And not all businesses have a geographic segment. Keep that in mind too. A positioning statement formula, and you're going to see this again. So this isn't the only week you're going to see this. Next week, we're actually going to write our own positioning statement and mission statement. So we'll refer back to this then. But this is a very good formula to help you kind of write your own. Likewise, the mission statement. It should answer those three things: who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. And then there's a small formula there. It's one sentence and it's got 3 areas. It doesn't have to be boring though. Keep that in mind. And again, we'll go over that next week. Here's an example of a positioning statement using that formula. At Creative Sparks, we offer graphic design services that provide professional, high-quality branding because we feel professional appearance matters. We know that small business owners choose us because we deliver quickly and are cost-effective. We know our offering of innovative and creative logos and branding material helps small business owners be more efficient, and that means they can focus on their business and customers. I like the formulas. They help us kind of gather our thoughts and put it on paper in a way that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise. Be succinct and be specific. Highlight your core values and your propositions. Differentiate yourself from the competition. You can't say they do it wrong, I do it right. You can't say that, but you can use a positioning statement to say, here's why we're great. We got names, colors, and logos. And in my personal opinion, this is one of the hardest things to do. Be unique, but not too unique. Make sure people can read, spell, and pronounce it. Make sure it's available, scalable, and attainable. Preemptively abbreviate. Make the name meaningful. Make sure it's not so complex that the name is difficult for your customers to understand or remember. And that goes into the spelling too. If your customers can't remember the name, they can't spend more money with you later. Using numbers and symbols in place of letters can cause confusion. We want to be creative, but we also need to be searchable. So keep that in mind as you're working with unique spelling. I think it's hard to find that balance, but keep in mind, if someone is trying to Google your business, but you do a random spelling or you use the number 3 in the spot of an E, or, that it wouldn't come up in a Google search as well. So just keep that in mind too. Make sure it's available. If you've got this great name, we need to start looking at trademark searches and stuff like that to see if it's already been trademarked. And if it has, we've got to pick something else. If you don't abbreviate a long name, customers will. Abbreviating proactively allows you to control the narrative in the nickname rather than allowing others to brand your business as they see fit. Not everyone needs to abbreviate, but if it's super long or has multiple words, come up with an abbreviation that is actually helpful to you. Make it meaningful. Maybe can communicate the origin story. We want to humanize the business. We need people to connect. Coloring is probably the only thing, in my opinion, harder than naming. And I think some of y'all would disagree, and that's okay because we're different humans. I think coloring for some people is very easy. And for some of us, it's very hard. Color theory, a theory that explores the connection between different colors and the feelings that they evoke in someone viewing. So you've got your friendliness and warmth of oranges and yellows. Pinks and red are love and excitement. Peace and tranquility being greens and blues. Your gray spectrum would be purity and simplicity. And then purple to brown to black. It evokes the thoughts of richness and luxury. So when you're doing your logos and creating your brand, keep in mind kind of where the colors are and what colors you want to use and why. Your logo, it's this visual image. It's a graphic of something. It's a picture. It's a drawing. Even if it's abstract, it's still something. So it's this image that you want to represent your brand. If I asked you right now, name, your most memorable brand that you can think of, or what do you think is the most popular brand out there? Most of them will be global brands that are recognized worldwide by their logo as much as their name. Think the Nike swoosh, Target's bullseye, think the Starbucks logo. You don't need to see the word Nike to know what the swoosh is. So your logo is the visual image that represents your brand. Choose something simple that can be easily reproduced in anything from a shirt to a cup or anything like that. Don't get too complex with it. Not only is it going to cost you more money, but it may be harder to reproduce on any type of merch or swag that you've got. So, all right, key considerations. Will you design it yourself or are you going to hire somebody? Will the logo be text-based or is it an image that captures the brand? How will your concept look in different situations? On merch, small versus large, printed versus digital? Is it going to cover all of the bases? Let's look at some logos. Logo sample number 1. It is a black background with more of a yellowy, orangey tint to the lettering. It says the colors feel heavy. Secondary colors fade into the background. Company name is difficult to read. Font may not appeal to the professional target audience. Where you see Creative Sparks is actually in gray in the very back of it. We almost don't see it at all. But it says Creative Sparks twice in that logo, but one of them, it almost disappears. So, logo 2. Browns and creams evoke earthiness. Color choices seem counterintuitive to the brand's goals. Coffee bean imagery does not align with the branded's tone or service offering. Remember, we read their positioning statement a while ago, and they're a graphic design company. This is likely not the best logo. Logo number 3, clean, simple lines, professional, easy to read. Colors evoke feelings of calmness and orderliness. And presentation of the logo suggests that the brand intertwined creativity and professionalism. This one may also not be my favorite. I don't like any of the 3, but if you're a graphic design company, I can tell you don't want coffee beans on your picture unless you're a graphic design company that only works with coffee companies. I think they could do something to beef this one up, though. Should you or should you not hire a designer? Some of us have the innate ability to design, and some of us don't. If you don't, hire it out. And I'll tell you that with anybody. Accounting, law, whatever. Hire it out if you don't know it. Don't make it up. We always know when someone printed business cards on their home printer at home. They look home printed. We always know when somebody set up a business and they didn't talk to an accountant or they didn't talk to a lawyer and it's tax time and now they're in a world of hurt. That stuff comes out. So if there's something that you don't know, hire it out. But if you're hiring, these are some things to consider. Timeliness, being open-minded, descriptive, versatile, and transparent. Now, you got to decide what type of materials should you want to buy, if any. Company branded items, the merch, that's usually one of the most popular when we're starting out, especially if you work in an industry or in an area that if everyone wears the merch or the t-shirt with your branded logo on it when they come to work every day, the more people out wearing your brand, the better. Swag being the things that you are buying solely to give away to other people. Don't just buy the cheap cups because they're cheap if people are going to throw them away. That's a waste of money. So you really do kind of have to put thought into all of that. Branded documents, instructional or informational, flyer, business cards, yada, yada, yada. Also, if most of your customers would never keep a business card, don't buy business cards and have them printed. There are digital business cards that people can take pictures of now. There are 100 ways to share who you are as a company that don't necessarily include being printed on a little business card that are not widely used anymore. Likewise, you may be working in an industry where everyone expects that you walk in the door with business cards in your pocket and wearing your name tag. I went to an event last night for work it wasn't here at the college, but it was for the college. And I was the only person in the room without my name tag. Completely forgot. Asked me if I put business cards in my pocket. I did not. Every time I shook someone's hand, they handed me a business card. And not only did I have to introduce myself because I forgot to wear my name tag, but also I had to then apologize for not bringing my cards to every person in the room that walked up to me. So know your audience, and I screwed that one up last night. Let's be real. So, but if your industry or the company that you work in doesn't need those things, then don't get them. You have to make that decision. Key considerations: be consistent, have a plan, create a budget, and then choose those items with care. Brand voice is hard, and we will talk more about this later, but brand voice is very hard. It's the visual elements that come together to form the entire experience, but it encompasses everything: the colors, the logo, the merch, the swag, the social media posts, the newsletters, the business cards, and you need it all to be succinct in a way that clearly identifies who you are. The voice itself is consistent verbiage and tone used in all written, visual, and auditory communication across all mediums, all of them. I don't care if it's newspaper, if it's a podcast, if you're being interviewed on the radio, if you're doing a social media post. The voice has to be the same, and that is hard. It's something, though, that we need to start working on. Communicating your story, the pitch. Why does your business exist? What does your business do? Why does your business do what it does? Who does it benefit, and how can people support it? If you're in an elevator and you're meeting an angel investor, you've got about 60 seconds to give the best pitch of your life. And all of that needs to be entered into it. We'll talk about pitches again another day as well, because this is just opening our branding conversation, not closing it. So we will keep on keeping on with this. 30-second, 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute. I'm going to say 60 seconds, maybe 90. And so you also don't want to bore anybody. I think once you get to that 5-minute mark, it's over. You've lost them. So what's a pitch deck? It's a slideshow presentation that supports longer pitches. If you're invited, every now and then I'm invited to a luncheon and it'll be sponsored by this local business. And they'll open it up with welcoming everybody, but there'll be a slide deck back there. And it will be, a 10-minute presentation on who their business is. That is absolutely the space to use those kinds of things. If that is something that you foresee your business doing, then once you get open and once you start doing things like sponsoring local lunches for business people, yes, a slide deck is absolutely something that you need. Whoops. I'm back. All right. So we're looking for sponsorship opportunities, sponsoring events, nonprofits, and philanthropic causes, but the target audience of the opportunity should align with the target audience of the brand. And I'm going to use an example. Don't sponsor your local, I don't know, don't sponsor something for the local high school football team if your primary target market ends up being people that would never go to a football game. Just because there's a large audience there doesn't mean it's a large audience of your people. So we've got to figure out where your people are. And if they go to football games on Friday nights at the local high school, absolutely sponsor something there. But don't, just because I would not want you to go get one of those billboards on the interstate where, 100,000 people drive by every day. Because if those people are not your people, it is not usually worth the large amount of money that it would cost you to get on that billboard in that prime location. So keep that in mind. Giveaways and promotions cost you money, so make sure that you have allocated appropriate funds in the budget to be able to represent your company well. And because you need to know who your target is, know what they like and don't like. If your target market is into saving the planet and recycling and all of these kinds of things, a cheap, non-recyclable plastic cup is not the way to go. That's being very tone deaf to who your people are. So make sure that you fully understand your target before you start buying this kind of stuff. Plan for the appropriate amount of swag and other promotional items. You don't want to run out of items, but you also don't want a bunch left over. And if you're never going to be in a spot to need to order swag, then that's also okay. Be realistic about expectations. What's the point? Is it brand recognition? Are you actually there to network with other businesses that are also providing swag to people? Make sure the purpose of the event aligns with your goals and objectives for attending, especially if you have to pay to get a table at the place. There are ways, like you wouldn't want to spend, and it's quite a bit, as I understand it, to do the bridal expo at the convention center. If your target is not women or brides or the family of the brides that would go to the bridal expo, that would be way too much spending for something that is not going to pay off. So kind of keep in mind too. Choose to participate in events that represent causes that you believe in. Mismatched opportunity can tarnish your brand in ways that will outlast the event and damage your brand. So be very mindful of stuff like that, especially when you get into the world of maybe politics or religion. If yours is based in that world, then go with it. But if it is not, then picking a side or going with one and not the other could harm, depending on who your target audience is. All right. I want to stop there. This was a quick overview of chapter 3. So feel free to watch it, pause it, come back to it, take notes, whatever you need to do. And we will do some positioning and mission statement work next week. This will go with your chapter reading and your chapter 3 quiz too. So Hope this helps. Make sure you read your chapter before doing it or take notes along the way. So hope you're great and have a great day. Bye.